Hi there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is Melissa, and today I thought we would use Spellbinders Glimmering Buttercups hot foil plate and stencil set. I purchased this in a bundle, and when I looked at Spellbinders website this morning, it was on sale for almost half off. So hopefully it stays on sale for a while. I will be sure to put a link in the description below. I am just waiting for the timer to go off. And today we are using matte gold foil. This is one of my favorites. Okay, so our timer has gone off. I am going to put my foil down, pretty side down, and then we can add our cardstock and our plates. Always make sure that you put that green plate down facing the heat source. I ran that through my Platinum 6, and we can now take a look and see what we got. And that came out perfect. So I've got my image on my sticky mat here. Let's bring in our stencils. And I am once again going to be working in reverse order. There are 5 stencils here, but we are starting with number 5 instead of number 1. I have kind of gotten into the habit of doing my greenery first. That looks good. And I am going to also use a little bit of repositionable tape here, just because the stencil doesn't go to the sticky mat over my panel. So let's work on our greens. I am using the same combination that we used last time, key lime and olive. And I just want to get some color on there really quickly. This is a bright green, and I'm hoping we get some nice summery vibes out of this. So now we will bring in olive, and I'm going to use a little bitty brush for this because I don't want a lot of color. I just want to kind of deepen the base of those leaves. So just like that. And let's take a look. That looks pretty darn good. Now we can bring in stencil number 4 since we are working in reverse order. We will do the same thing. Add our tape to kind of hold that stencil in place. Bring in our key lime. Just get those areas all covered. Then we'll bring in our olive and do the same thing. Just a little bit on that base. I do not want to go too far into that leaf. I'm going for a summery palette again. So we've got those leaves done, leaves. Now let's do our stems. I want my stems to be darker, so I'm coming in heavy with that olive and using a larger brush. Let's get that tape off of there and take a look. And that is pretty. I will clean my stencil every time I'm done with it, and just use a little caution because there are some little pointy bits on your leaves here, and I don't want to bend those. We've got stencil number 3, and we are just going to repeat the process. That was quick work. Now we can come in with our olive. And I will use my little brush again for the leaves. And then for those teardrop type leaves, I'm coming in with olive heavy-handed. I forgot a leaf down here. We'll just fill that in. I think everything else looks pretty good. And we can reveal this stencil. And that is looking so pretty. I got a little heavy-handed there. I am just going to tap on that. Hopefully that looks okay. Now we can come in with stencil number 2, and this is our flowers. You know, I Googled buttercups, and most of them were yellow. Some of them were pink. Some of them were purple. and a few of them were even blue. But I think we are just going to go yellow, pink, and maybe a purple. I don't know. I've got my yellows here. I've got Sunshine and Marigold. We need some masking tape. If you were to do all of these one color, you wouldn't have to mask anything off. But we are doing several different colors. So we're just going to mask these. And I'm using the low tack tape. I just don't want to peel up any of that foil. That can happen sometimes. It's very rare, but it can happen. Let's start with our Sunshine. That is bright. That is a bright yellow. Then we've got our Marigold. And I'm just going to go in the center. When I was looking up buttercups, it said that the base of the flower is much darker than the tip of the flower. We can wipe that off and reposition our masking tape. And I think we will do, goodness, I can't decide if I want to throw a purple one in there or not. I think we will throw a purple one in there. Let's do this big flower purple. And we are using hydrangea. And I don't want this to be too dark, so I am just going to use hydrangea to accent the center of the flower. I think if I were to bring in opulence, as I've used in other flowers, I'm afraid it would be just too dark. So now we can take these tapes off and move on to our pink. So for my pink, I've got Bubblegum and Raspberry Bliss. I love this combination. Let's bring in our Raspberry Bliss and just go at the base of our flowers. And I'm just working in a circular motion again. I don't want to go too far out. I think that's good. And let's see what we have here. Oh, that's looking really pretty. This goes so quickly. Now we can bring in stencil number 1 and repeat the process. Let's do our purple first. Working with hydrangea. I didn't even add any ink to that. Large brush. Now let's add our shading. I think this is going to be so pretty. We can get these masking pieces off of here. And let's do our yellow next. Everything is masked off. I'm not even going to add any ink to this big brush just because it has already got so much on it. Now we can do our highlight with Marigold. Just getting the base of these flowers. Wipe that off real quickly. We can move our masks. There's a lot of repetition. Bring in a little bit of bubble gum. I think I might need to re-ink a couple of my pads. I've been using the same colors over and over, and they're getting a little dry. Now we can bring in Raspberry Bliss. Just getting the centers. Oh, so pretty. So we've got our panel all done, and I also have another hot foiled panel that I did because we are going to do something a little different. In my mind, I keep thinking that we need to try to make our cards not so bulky. I mean, I love a card with a lot of dimension, but we have to keep in mind these things are going through the mail and postage just keeps going up and up and up. So let's bring in a little bit of tape. I want to tape this down. This is the largest die from Hero Arts. This is the Infinity Nested Rectangles, and I am using the largest one. The largest one is A2, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I just want to try to get as much of this image as I can in that panel. So I'm just looking everywhere. I'm looking at this image, this on the right, and then also on the left. And I think that looks good. So I'll pick a spot and tape this down. I will run this through my machine. That cut out beautifully. So now what we want to do, can you tell I'm kind of winging it? I really don't have a plan today. So let's reuse our tape here. I want to take this. Now, because when I hot foiled, the images don't line up exactly each time you hot foil. I want to figure out where my images match here. I am taking this leaf, this stem on the bottom, and this stem on the right-hand side for the flower, and I'm just going to line them up. I think those match pretty well, and I'm just going to take a little bit of tape here and a little bit of tape here just to hold that in place. Now I am bringing in my Perfect Touch Arches and Tag, and I have grabbed the second from largest here, and we're just going to figure out where this looks good, nice and centered. You know what, let's take a look at the third one down. So we were going to use the second from largest, but I think we'll use the third from largest. And we will center this top to bottom, left to right, and we will tape this down, and we will run our ink blended panel through the die cutting machine. My goal was just to get this piece centered, and I think that looks pretty darn good. So we'll have a nice background for our floral image here. Let's add our panel to a top folding card base. And this I am just going to glue directly to my card base. I've added foam tape to my ink blended panel. We'll get that attached. And then you'll just want to look over this and make sure you get it placed and lined up with those flowers that are not ink blended. And I think that actually came out pretty good. We did good on that. So let's bring in a sentiment. So for my sentiment, I wasn't sure which color I wanted to use. I knew I was going to add in a purple flower. So I've got purple, pink, and gold. And my sentiments came from the Always and Forever sentiment strips. I just love this. This is one of my favorite. I keep these on hand all the time. Let's kind of take a look and see which one we want. Do we want something pink? That looks nice. Or would we like gold? I think that one looks nice, but it just adds to the gold. That's a lot of gold. Or something purple. No, the purple doesn't really match. So I think we will go with pink, and I just need to decide which one I want. I think we will go with Sending You Strength. I cut off the tails on the end and I added some foam tape. I am bringing in my T-ruler just to make sure I can get this straight. And I'm going to bring that right to the edge of the stitching marks on our arch. I think that is so pretty. I am going to send this card to my friend. She is actually out of town right now. She is looking at apartments for her son. He is going to be moving away. He is finished with college. He got a job up in, I want to say it's Washington. It's either Washington or Oregon. And it's going to be a big move for her because he is going to be out of the house. He went to college, but it wasn't so final. And as soon as they move out and they're like actually on their own, there's just something about it. It makes you sad. So let's bring in some gems. I've got the Spellbinders Crystal Mix, and I think we will go with the kind of milky ones. I don't want to add too much shine on there. And I'm going to bring in a medium and place that, first of all, right over my little boo-boo. You know what? We might need a larger. Let's put that just right over the boo-boo. I got a little too heavy with that ink, and then we can put another one up here. That's good. And we'll just scatter some more. And I think that is perfect. Covered up my little mistake when I got too heavy-handed. I do get aggressive sometimes. I don't mean to, but I do. That's our card for today. Everything I used will be listed and linked in the description below. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.